Welcome back to another episode of Grit on the Rocks podcast, the place where real men sip deep, think hard, and talk straight. I'm your host, David, and today we're hitting a topic that most men and women overlook until it's too late. And what am I talking about? Silence.
This podcast is a Buenos Diaz media production.
This is the Grit on the Rocks podcast, where raw conversations meet smooth sips. Pull up a chair, pour your favorite drink, puff on your favorite cigar, and join us as we dive into the convos that matter. No scripts, no barriers, just unfiltered truth served straight up. Cheers to the real ones out there. Salud.
Yeah, I said it. In a world where everyone's got something to say on the gram, Facebook, on social media, in your group chat, or even at the Thanksgiving table, the real alpha move might just be shutting the hell up. But before we jump into this topic, you already know what time it is. If you haven't done so till now, I don't know what you're waiting for, but now is a great time to press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble. And subscribe to the podcast if you're listening to us through Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio. And share the episode with your friends and family that might need to hear this. Share it with someone who talks too much. Yeah, I know you thought of somebody. Just now, bless them with some truth today. And if you've got a burning question or a hot take and you want to be featured on a future episode, you can go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll to the bottom to the Contact Us section, and send us your question, your comments. Or if you got stories for Barstool Banter or Whiskey Bar Wisdom, go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll to the bottom to the Contact Us section, and send us your messages. And I also invite you, drop us a comment if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble. Drop the comment in the bottom. And I think the podcast platforms are now letting you comment also. But anyway, do so.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Diaz Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, so let me hit you with some truth here, right? Real quick. Not every moment requires your voice. And I know this is hard for us to understand. I know that a person like me has had to keep learning this the hard way. But yeah, not every moment requires your voice. And this is something, like I said, I'm still learning because I'm not a loud or argumentative person. But I'm the type of person that I love to offer advice, obviously on things that I've lived or things that I know about. I mean, I'm not going to give you advice on something I have no clue, but yeah, I love to offer advice, and granted, it's coming from the best place in my heart. But the sad truth is that I've learned that most people don't want that. They only want cheerleaders on their side applauding and cheering them on, and they just don't want to be held accountable for their BS. So sometimes you just gotta let shit hit the fan and just let them bask in it. I mean, it just comes down to that. But as we've seen, we live in a culture where being loud is mistaken for being right, where speaking fast is being mistaken for being smart. But here's the kicker here. Just because you can talk doesn't mean you should. And again, that is something I am learning. So let me break down here, man to man or man to woman, whoever's listening to us. Here's a few situations where your silence speaks volumes. All right? And let's start with number one. You don't know the full story. Don't run your mouth if you don't know the full story, right? Real men gather facts before forming opinions. If you speak on half the truth, you're just spreading confusion. Get the full story before, right? I mean, there's also people that love to, it's like they're listening, but they're not really listening. All they're doing is thinking of what they're going to say after you stop speaking. And therefore, they get half the story, and then they want to, again, base their opinions on half-truths. So, listen. That's why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. We need to listen. Listen to the full story before you spread confusion by offering opinions based on half-truths. Number 2, you're running hot emotionally. My friends, just shut that down. When you're overwhelmed with sadness, stress, or even insecurity, that ain't the time to speak. It's time to reflect. It's like when people, make these drastic decisions while their emotions are heightened. It's never a good thing because you make these impulse decisions that you might later on regret. Number 3, if you're pissed off, don't talk. That's it. Because anger will twist your words. And once words are out, you just can't stuff them back in your mouth. You can't really take it back. So if you are pissed, again, anger, emotions are heightened, it is best to just be silent. Number 4, your words could hurt someone. If they can, don't justify it with, I'm just being honest. If it's laced with poison, it's not honesty, because truth isn't a weapon. It's a gift. And not everyone's ready to receive it. Like I said before, some people just want, applause. And, you're planning on doing this and destroying your life? Oh, I think that's so brave. That's what they're looking for. They don't want someone to talk sense into them. So, all right. So let me say it again for those in the back who can't hear it. Power isn't just in speaking. It is knowing when not to. Not just speaking. Power isn't just in speaking. It is knowing when not to. So let's take a quick moment here to listen to a word from our friends at the Apex Gentlemen's Guild.
Looking to connect with like-minded men who share your drive for success and passion for the finer things in life? Welcome to the Apex Gentlemen's Guild, a private members club for men who value ambition, camaraderie, giving back, and personal growth. For a limited time while we're fully remote, you can join the guild for free. Gain access to tons of motivational content, exclusive events, insightful discussions, and a network of high-performance individuals. Don't miss this chance to elevate your social circle. Request to join today at facebook.com/groups/Apex Gentlemen's Guild, or give us a like at facebook.com/Apex Gentlemen's Guild. The Apex Gentlemen's Guild, excellence forged in unity.
All right, and we're back. So let's get real here for a moment. Let's be honest here. I want you to think about how many relationships, romantic, it could be business or family relationships, have you wrecked or almost wrecked because you couldn't shut up in the heat of the moment? Be honest. Just think about it. Because we've all been there. You're yelling. You're hyped. You say something reckless and immediately wish you could rewind time, but now it's too late. And that's when silence becomes your greatest weapon. Here's the mindset. Here's the mindset shift. Think of it as every word is a brick. You're either building or you're breaking. So when you feel like yelling, walk away. Go for a drive. Hit the gym. Breathe. Pray. But do not let the impulse of the moment take over. Because nothing valuable ever gets built in chaos. That's when the devil, right? He does his best work with confusion and miscommunication and manipulation. You know, if you want to win in this life as a man or as a woman, right? As a father or as a mother, as a leader, learn to tame your tongue. Obviously, this also, like I said, I'm supposed to speak to men, but it also applies to women. So just learn to tame your tongue. All right, so now it's time for a pour of whiskey bar wisdom.
Whiskey bar wisdom. Ooh.
All right, there's nothing magical about it. Here, drink this. Tell me what's on your mind. Come on.
Whiskey bar wisdom. You provide the stories. We provide the opinions. Unprofessional advice and the laughter. Grit on the Rocks podcast.
Okay, so this message was sent to us through our Contact Us section of gritontheRocks.com. And it comes to us from Carlos from Miami, who says he wrote this after listening to our episode of the modern fatherhood. And he says, David, I'm fighting for custody of my son. And it's taking everything in me to not lash out at my ex and her family. How do I keep my cool when I feel like I'm being falsely painted as the villain? All right, Carlos, my brother, my man. I just don't understand, right? When I look at cases like this, I don't understand why women, and men do this too, but I don't get it. Like, why do they do this? Like, if things don't work out between you and your spouse anymore, and you decide to split up for whatever reason, right, that brought you to that moment, even though obviously any separation or divorce, things of that nature, it always sucks. It just sucks. But why do we have to poison our children's minds about the other parent? Like, if the guy or girl is a piece of shit as a partner, then I get it, But not even if they're shit as a partner, but they're great as a parent, why can't we just keep the personal business to ourselves, right? And just stop oversharing with the kids and then painting one another as the villain in the movie. So, Carlos, I just gotta say, and this applies to today's episode, is your silence is not weakness. It's war strategy, right? Let them rant, let them accuse. The truth always rises, but only if you keep your hands clean and your mouth disciplined. Stay grounded, stay documented, and pray, right? Pray for discernment and because God doesn't bless drama. Right? He blesses the man who holds the line with character. And I know we all need to release, But do yourself a favor and vent somewhere safe. You need to vent, you need to let it out, because we all do. Do it somewhere safe. But don't give them ammo by snapping. Keep your mouth closed and your crown on, king. Okay. So let's look at when silence saves the bond, right? And let's close out this episode strong. Because there are moments when your silence can actually preserve something sacred. A friendship, a partnership, or a family bond. Sometimes saying what you really feel in a moment full of heat, right? It's not strength. It's basically sabotage. And true wisdom says that this ain't the time. Let me cool off. Let me come back when I'm grounded. Because no amount of sorry can undo what your mouth does in anger. And that's something you really have to, like, if you take away anything from this episode, is that when you say things in anger, and you say just, when you're in anger, usually you say things just to hurt the person. You probably don't even mean it. You just want to hurt them. And that's the problem, because when things cool down, then you want to apologize for it, but the damage is already done, right? The person already internalized what you said. And even if they might forgive, truth is, no matter how much they say they do, they don't forget. And that will always be there. So let's avoid planting those seeds of hatred or of bitterness, of sorrow, of hurt. And if you're angry, it's just best to hold silence, take a breather. If you need to pray, if you pray. If you don't, read a book, take a walk. But do not let the impulse of the moment take over. So if this episode hit home for you, do me a solid, people. Like the video, whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. Subscribe to the channel or to the podcast. And drop us a comment about a time you should have stayed silent, but you didn't. Or a time when silence saved the day. And if you want your question or situation featured in a future Whiskey Bar segment, as I've said before, shoot me a message. Go to gridontherocks.com. Scroll to the bottom to the Contact Us section and send us your message. You never know. Your story might be the one that helps another man or a woman out of the ditch. Remember, the loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest, and sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to say nothing at all. So until next time, keep your spirits high, your cigars lit, your glasses full, and your conversations meaningful. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast, a Buenos Diaz media production. Cheers.
Grit on the rocks tonight, met with hearts like iron bars, tackling life's endless fight, scars becoming